I'm your host, Sabby. I'm your host, Sabby.
All right. Welcome to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I'm here with the Bank Sisters. We will have a smaller group tonight. A lot of us are busy. There's things that have come up. But if you are new and you're not familiar with the Bank Sisters, I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. So, Courtney and Keisha.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Sabby.
Good to see you, Sabby. I'm Keisha.
I'm Courtney.
How do we just explain ourselves? Just a couple of leftists, I suppose. We try to keep it light and interesting on our YouTube channel while the whole world is dying.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. And we just started doing live streams every Monday at noon. So we'll be able to talk about more like current events because a lot of the videos that we do are kind of like longer form. So we just put one out covering the TikTok stars that are helping to influence us all about the war that were invited to the White House. So if you actually want to see some of those TikToks that were mentioned in the Washington Post article and some of their other works, we break it down pretty well. So, and then we just hop on when we can talk to amazing people like Sabby.
Awesome. And Josana is here. Hi, Josana.
Hi.
Hey.
So I am not in my place. But I was I'm facing actually, Sabby, I would just throw it out there. I'm actually facing outside of YouTube world that existed before that. Bitch, what are you doing? So I've been facing right now I'm out of friends because I promised I would be out of with friends. And since the theme is dating, they don't accept or understand this world of being a person that has to be in Panos and has a network on YouTube.
Yeah.
It hurts a little bit.
Oh, no, I understand. So tonight, I know in the other episodes we've talked about more serious topics. Tonight, we're going to keep it a little bit more fun for people. You got to change it up a little bit here and there. So, but tonight we're going to talk about dating or our experiences with dating. Should be pretty interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with Courtney and Keisha. What are some of the challenges that you found either dating currently, like during the pandemic or in the past? What are some of the challenges you found with dating?
That's a tough one.
Dating,
we're
yeah,
both in relationships. So
yeah, currently, gosh, well, I was in a long distance relationship and now we moved back here. So now I'm it's closer, but now she's in a long distance relationship. So distance, I mean, we could definitely talk about distance. It's definitely hard to keep something going when you're on the other side of the whole world and there's a 3-hour time difference or a 5-hour time difference. And then, yeah, like Josana was saying, not to mention your whole YouTube life and how much time all that takes up.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine dating now because I used to go on a lot of dates, a lot of dinner dates. Okay. A girl's got to eat 100%. A lot of dating for me was sustenance. just needed to survive. But like, but also, I mean, I don't know. I feel like even when I was dating, like maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago or something, it even seemed odd that when I was like, oh, we should go on a date and sit down and like go out together. And some girls I feel like wouldn't demand that, or it was a lot of like, we're hanging out. And I never liked that. I always hated that. I'm like, if you want to take me on a date, take me on a date. If not, then I guess we won't hang out. So I wonder what the current situation is with that, because like during COVID and everything, people couldn't go on dates. So that must be interesting. But
yeah,
I just couldn't imagine it. Like so much of the online stuff and if people are real or not, because I've been swindled by people that I've met in person that I dated. So I can only imagine this online life.
Yeah, I only did very little online, a little bit of Bumble, and I got catfish at least twice. Like, just like you show up and it's literally a completely different person. And then I'm like, do I have to stay for this date? What is the protocol? I have no idea.
I think you're allowed to leave.
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did leave. I think I was just kind of like, you're not the person you said you were. So I'm just going to go, I guess, because you're a liar at the very least.
I don't like that. You got to start off with honesty.
And then the other guy just ended up being like, it was like in one of those, first of all, guys love to do these old pictures, like old pictures. It'll be like pictures from like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's not accurate. Like, I don't want to date no.
You have to be comfortable with yourself. Let's keep it current. Let's keep the pictures current.
Easy advice.
And always have one without a hat on. Not every picture with the hat on. No,
because that's suspect.
Oh, wow.
Or sunglasses in every picture. That's a...
Wow. Josana, what are some of the challenges you found dating? And also, like, are there differences dating in Brazil and dating in the US?
It's so funny that I'm hearing this question lately. I'm so sorry, but it is funny. Okay, so as an immigrant, the cultures are completely different when it takes to dating. As a queer woman, still, it is different. I feel like, how is it to date in the times where you were so awakened to what's going on? That always like hits me, because like I was married to a white man from France for years. Since I got here in 2013. We met each other like 3 months after, and then we separated. And then I realized as a Black woman from South America, I tended to date white men because there is an article that's called The Solitude of the Black Woman. And it brings up the interracial dating and how Black women should not be saying, like, hold accountable for their choices at all, because we are the lonely fishes in the bowl. Like, we are the last of the last. But also, what self-esteem that brought me as a young babe, like a teenager, a child. Like, I grew up, and my father was a lawyer, and he was like working for the lady that owned a private school. So we had like scholarship, right? Like exchange for service. And it was mostly white people. So like, what self-esteem did I bring up as a Black woman in being brought up in a ambience that is like, hi, Afeni. I can't even finish this story. I love you. But how can I bring, like, I was brought up to believe that I was less, that my choices didn't matter, and I looked ugly because I heard these words, you were ugly and you were Black, when I was 13. And like, how do we build this strength as a human being, because dating, yes, dating is fun and it's cool as fuck and we do that, but there's a pandemic. But also, how are we feeling as human beings? Like, how are each and every one of you here feeling right now? Like, I grew up with so low self-esteem that, like, it was hard to me to see my relationship racism playing itself out, or in the way that I look for work, or in the way that I look for connections in another community that's a different community from mine. So I think dating is actually very deep conversation. I'm sorry for like blah blah blahing.
Oh no. Welcome, Afeni. We're talking about dating. And so the first question is what are some of the challenges you've had with dating, either before or after the pandemic?
I mean, okay. So one of the biggest challenges I had, I mean, I'm gonna be super honest. Hey, how are you? I'm gonna be super honest. Like, so I just came into my sexuality. Let me say, like, I'm 25 now, so like 1920 is when I like fully came into my sexuality, and I like was like, I'm not gonna keep like trying to date men and figure out how to be straight. Like, I'm gonna be lesbian and be comfortable with myself. So one of the biggest issues I've had with dating as like a feminine lesbian is just like, men, number one, don't leave you alone. So that's a problem. Like, a lot of men still feel it's like it's their place to date you, which is weird. And then as women, like, as far as like women's concerned, I mean, I think that I've just really, I mean, I'm lucky to be in a relationship now with somebody that like aligns to my values. But I mean, honestly, like, it's just like a lot of Black people in America are very like capitalistic, and they're also very like, like they don't want to do all the extra. They don't want to talk about politics. Like, that's too much for them. So I've like ran into like the issue where like, I'm boring to people, quote unquote boring, because I want to talk about things that actually matter to me and not talk about fucking like Lil Baby. Don't get me wrong. Like, I will talk about the celebrity drama all day. Like, the celebrity drama is hilarious. Like, Jada and the baby right now, like, I'm laughing at Jada because, like, sis, we already knew he was a cheater, We knew that.
I thought she texted Bow Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you serious?
Huh? That's what I thought.
I don't know.
I saw a tweet is all I'm saying.
That would be bad.
No, like, so, like, I'm very much caught up on, like, the celebrity drama and the bullshit. Don't get me wrong. I'm up on it. But, like, this is not what I would talk about. It's not what interests me. Like, I can talk all day about how dumb all the relationships are. But at the end of the day, like, niggas are dying. So that's what I want to talk about. Like, capitalism is killing us. The government is killing us. The Democratic Party is killing us. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what it looks like to be politically engaged outside of voting. They don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So that's been a lot of the issues that I ran into. Like, luckily the girlfriend that I have now, like, she's very, she's not politically engaged per se, but she definitely understands like why I do the work that I do. And that's something that I have not found before her. So I'm happy about that. But
yeah, I haven't been single in over 10 and a half years. And I wouldn't even know if I was single tomorrow, I wouldn't even know what to do because the whole dating world has changed. And I don't know what it was like for people. Like, some of my friends are still single. Huh?
I said the dating pool has pee in it. In 2022.
It just, like, some of my friends that are single, they've told me stories. There's some weird stories. One of my friends told me they went on a date and their date brought their mom to the date. And we're adults. So I don't know. I've heard like some crazy stories, but I'm curious because Afeni brought up politics, and I have this question for everyone. Let's say you meet someone and you really hit it off, And let's say it turns out that they do not have the same political ideology as you. Let's pretend you really hit it off, and let's say that they end up being conservative. Could you date someone that doesn't align with you politically? And I'm throwing it back up to the Bank sisters.
Oh Lord. Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked this because yeah, exactly what Afeni was saying and everything. Like, I could not date a dum-dum. Like, there are so many things going on in the world. Like, me and my boyfriend are just always talking about stuff, always talking about the Democrats and, running out of oxygen and all this stuff. And when I think about it, the last two boyfriends I had, we both really connected politically. And it wasn't about like, what do you align it with, but that we had opinions and we could stand behind them. We mainly both aligned. But what's interesting is my last boyfriend, William, he was in the military and he had voted for Obama and stuff and everything like that. And then he voted for Bernie. But then when it was Biden-Trump, he told me, like a few years later, he told me he voted for Trump. And he was like, Biden put me into a war. He lied. And I was like, I can respect that. Those are actual reasons. And I think that's something where if you really, I could get past that. You know what I mean? Because the Democrats aren't shit either. It's just like, I couldn't take somebody kind of blindly following and thinking this is like the correct morality without really dissecting what that means and looking behind that. And so I think if you just cut it clear to parties, you might be missing out on like if they actually have any thoughts of their own,
Yeah. I think my first question would have to be, how do you feel about abortion? Like, that's a red line right there. Like, I agree. Like, there's certain things we could disagree about. Maybe it wouldn't be a big deal, but that would be a huge deal for me. But my boyfriend is like kind of the opposite of courts because although he has a lot of feelings about, how the way of the world and politics and all that, he hates talking about it. He never wants to talk about it. He's like, life is terrible. Nothing is going to change. Let's go get fucked up and chill. Like, let's put the world. When I go to his house, like we build forts and we like do yoga together. And we just are like in another world because he feels like, electoralism isn't going to do anything for him. And he kind of feels like, why always talk about it? Whereas I feel like if we don't talk about it, how can we educate people and, get more people, bring people into the fold? And so we're looking at it from two different perspectives, but I think you.
So what does he have like that's different though politically? You talk about politics a lot. Does it bother him?
He'll definitely be like, okay, that's enough politics talk, or he'll be like, please turn off that stupid podcast you're listening to, or like he'll be like, what the hell, like all the time, yeah. He just gets bored with it, and he's definitely said you're boring. Like things like this.
Josana, could you date someone that doesn't have the same political ideology?
First of all, we should have JB in this panel for some reason. I felt his eyes like close to the camera. And second of all, I have a candle. Anyways, men. Men. Okay, so I just recently became single and it's been 3 years of therapy. That is to say that if you are an asshole and you think I should be your wife, serve you, blah, 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 just don't even slide into the DMs and shit. And on top of that, I'm a pansexual person and women are, and trans men are way better than just cis men. Cis white men, you have to get your game going. Anyways, I think I've had enough of experiences where we didn't line up as beings, because I think to be in a relationship, you have to just line up. And if you don't, just let the other person go. Because it's not a commercial thing that you have to be a family and you have children and you have to buy a house. And this is a propaganda to keep you walking in the system. You have to be with the person you love. I have had enough experiences with the opposite sex where they wanted to impose it to me. So right now I'm safe from that.
Afeni?
So actually, when me and my girlfriend first met, she said that she was fiscally conservative. And I was like, what that mean? And she's like many black people are like getting money ass niggas, like I'm gonna chase the bag, because that's where freedom is. And hold on, speaking of girlfriend, this is her calling me. Give me 1 second, sorry.
Could you be any more black?
She's like, are you talking about me right now, babe? That's so cute.
Earth, wind, and fire.
Okay, so unfortunately, I have to open the door for her. But I will say this before I open the door for her because she can wait. So, when I first met her, she was very much like fiscally conservative. I want to, okay, this is her. I'm speaking for her. She was like, I want to like get money and build generational wealth and do all those things for my family. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I get that. You feel me? But like the more I talked to her, the more she was like, oh no, like abolish all this shit. Yes. Like there are those people, and because like she is like she's a black woman, like she's a biracial woman, she's black and Japanese. So, she's dealt mostly in the black experience. So because she's dealt mostly in the black experience, when you talk about it from like purely demographically, like how does capitalism make sense in your life? And even as a Japanese person in America, how does capitalism make sense in your life? You can't really find an answer, So I feel like more and more now she has, radicalized. I wouldn't say that she's fully politically in line with me. Like she definitely still comes up with her like capitalist get rich quick schemes that she talks about all the time. And I'm trying to break her out of it, y'all, one day. But she definitely understands the way why I feel the way I feel, how I got to the way I feel the way I do. And, just genuinely, just getting rid of all of it. Like she's with all of that. She's an anarchist at heart. We're trying to get her to the anti-capitalist, but she's an anarchist at heart.
Oh, I would say I was kind of late to the game. Like my husband was already he already saw the problems with the two-party system before we started dating. So we started dating like 10 and a half years ago. And I was the one that was kind of like, I'm liberal. I was like Obama, like that kind of thing. So I would say I think he kind of opened my eyes to that like, listen, both of these parties are corrupt. So yeah, I think politically like that's probably as far as I would have gone. Like I honestly don't think I can date someone conservative because I went to college in the South, very conservative. And a lot of the people I went to school with were conservative, especially the ones who were from South Carolina. And we didn't really get along too well. I'll just tell you, we did not get along too well. So I know that I like couldn't do it. But another question I have for you is that did you find, because one of you, I can't remember if it's Keisha or Courtney, one of you went to Ohio State. Is okay.
It was
When
me.
you weren't, it was you. Okay. So you went to like a sports school like me, because I went to University of South Carolina. Okay. Did you find in college when you were dating, did you find it somewhat difficult coming from the place where you were coming from Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it difficult dating in a college that is predominantly white?
I mean, no, because no and yes, because I mean, guys were just fuckboys the whole time. But also something that was happening was like from where we're from, it was the first time a guy had ever said to me that I was pretty without saying for a black girl, like it was the first time I had heard something like that. So to me, I was like, wow, I thought I was really in the North, like in Ohio. It took like till my senior year till somebody said some racist shit to me. Mostly everybody was really nice and very open, and there was a really good, I mean, it was just I think that I did. I mean, I just picked a lot of jerks. I think that was an issue. But I mean, almost like with what Josana was even saying before, like checking in with ourselves and how are we, like, you have to, like, something like that really follows you around. That's the first time you hear that you're actually attractive, you know, like there's something with me, like in high school, because our town was so racist, like certain people wouldn't take pictures with me for homecoming and stuff. So like my boyfriend not wanting to take pictures with me makes me feel really upset, you know, because of social media, and that's so insidious. So he doesn't like that. So that's an issue. But I would say like it was a positive experience for me because I felt like people were more open than they were from where I was coming from. So that was different.
It's
That's
funny.
that's a good point. Go ahead, Josana.
It's funny, Sabby, because like we don't have the rituals that Americans have, like the homecoming, the prom. We have like a prom when we graduate from college, but like growing up, like I remember hearing these words, like you are. I'm not going with you to the ball, whatever was that, because you were black and you were ugly, and I was 13 years old. So like in a country where the majority is black, being black is ugly. I don't, I haven't designed the self-esteem to like talk, at least talk dating in black community. I mean, at least straight, but when it's queer, it's my queer side, yes, more than the straight side, but like it's a way to like I feel like when it takes to classism, like black men wanted to date white women, and maybe black women were dating white men because they were in solitude. So I don't know. I'm just mixing cultures.
No, that's a good point. I know when I was in college too, most of the black guys, especially like the football players, like I said, I went to like a sports school, at least that's what I call it anyway. But most of like the football players, the black athletes did not want to date black girls. And they were vocal about it too. And that's the thing that kind of like slap you in the face.
Really?
That's
I didn't have okay. So I went to JMU, which was in Virginia. So I stayed in Virginia, but there wasn't very much black population at all at the school. Then the black folks like stayed really like tight knit, and there were like the black sororities and fraternities were like very prevalent, and I feel like people made almost like people made a big effort to date other black people. Like, yeah, I had like a total opposite experience with that. It's so weird.
I mean, I guess I couldn't say there was too many Ohio State football players bringing black girls into their box seats. I used to host a lot of the football recruits and on game days and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I mean, what is that? Does that do we feel like we're moving up a class or what? I don't, but it's definitely something that's there present.
I want to welcome Delilah. Hello.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
Don't worry. I know you were on another panel. That's what I was saying. I like Delilah's on another panel, but we were just talking about like challenges you've had with dating, either before the pandemic or like after the pandemic.
Y'all saw the chat earlier, so I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I think so. When I was younger, I lived in Port Isabel and South Padre Island. Like everybody was the same color or some variation of me. And then when I was older, I moved to Austin, Texas. And like it was a complete culture shock. And so all of a sudden I went from just being this like plain normal. In fact, there was a lot of shadeism in my community. They're like, oh, like they used to call us like black because like you're so dark or black. And it's like, okay, like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know anything about that. And so when I moved to like Central Texas, I remember people being like, oh, what are you? You're exotic. And I'm just like, I am from Texas. I don't know what you're going on about. And I just remember feeling like really kind of like put off on the whole concept of dating at a young age because I was like, I didn't feel valued like as a person. I felt like I was just kind of like a piece of art on the wall or something like that. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like they were interested in me because of my personality or anything like that. I think they were just like wanted to be different or edgy or cool and like, oh, this girl's not from here. And so, you know what I mean? And so it was just really, really weird growing up. And then a lot of the demographic was like white. So it changed, so then I had a bunch of like white students and that they all wanted to be friends with the black or brown girls because, and I don't think it was so much to be inclusive, but just they wanted to seem like they were cool, like kind of like that liberal mindset, like, oh, like a black lady, like, you know what I mean, like just that kind of like early onset, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's been weird. I did not. I enjoyed being single for like a short period of time, and then I was like, all right, I'm done. You know, it's a
Yeah.
struggle out there, ladies.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying earlier. I was like, I've been married for like, it'll be 6 years November. We've been together for 10 and a half years. So I was like, I could not do this again. I could not date again. I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, I wouldn't know where to start.
You saw how Jason Momoa and they got back together real fast. It's got to be rough out there. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, like online dating, I'm gonna go to Afeni next about this one. This is about online dating because I had a friend and she told me that she had one more date that she was gonna go on, and she said if this doesn't work out, she said she was done. She was not gonna do online dating anymore. And then it worked out, and they ended up eventually getting married. But for those of you on the panel that have done online dating, and I'm starting with you first, Afeni, what have your experiences been like with that?
Honestly, my first fiance I met online. So my personal experience with online dating as a lesbian has been great because there's an app called Her, and I mean I'm pretty picky, so I mean you can find pretty good like lesbians, and the black queer space in DC is also like non-existent as well. So being on Her and finding other black queer women, like it'd be popping, you know, because that's where like I feel like that's where a lot of my friends have found their girlfriends personally in this space. Um, but yeah, like overall, like I feel like online dating is definitely, it could be a very toxic space. Just because, you know, you never really know who you're talking to. And also, you know, I feel like people lie a lot. Like, I feel like one thing about being online or being in social media spaces is you get to be a person that you don't get to be in real life. You know, you can tell any lie about yourself online. Like, I'm 6'6", you know what I'm saying? I have a 6-figure job. I don't live with my mama. Like, you can tell all types of lies online, you know what I'm saying? But you meet these niggas and you be like, oh, like you're really a bum. It's crazy. It's crazy, like how, you know, not high value you truly are. You know? But yeah. So I mean, outside of my one fiance that I met online, and I met her in real life. So, like, outside of that, I mean, I feel like online is a bunch of lies. Like, I feel like online dating is literally a bunch of lies. Like, people just lie and lie and lie until they can't lie anymore. And then you finally meet them in person. And it's like, well, either you accept them how they are or you like, damn, you lied. It's one or the other, you know?
I'm going to go to you, Josana, next because I know you have to head out.
Dating online. Okay, I just became single. It's been a couple of years. I am in the world before the online world, so yes, I struggle. I haven't dated online. I met one person that we were like, oh, you're so sexy, and you too, but we have never actually met in real life, so that feels weird because, as Afina said, like online is a bunch of lies. It can be a bunch of lies. So dating to me is a bit harder than that, but I wish we had a female grinder, and I also wish we had a cis and like a heterosexual grinder as well, where people could just stop being hypocrites and they could just fuck, and that wouldn't be a problem at all. Because I feel like being in the cusp, because I was before bisexual and now I think I'm pansexual. I feel like being in the cusp shows me that as a woman wanting to meet a man and have sex, I have to play certain games which are very tiring to me. I have been married for 7 years. I am separate right now, about to start the divorce. I do not want you to be my Prince Charming. So I have the right to just like wanting to meet you physically speaking as a woman. So I wish we could stop playing the games that we play in the hetero cis world, as we don't play them in the queer world, and we can just be happy. Just that.
Well said. Courtney and Keisha, your experiences with online dating?
Oh, I love this idea that Josana has. Yeah, like definitely straight people should have a grinder for sure, because so much time is wasted online dating.
Isn't that Tinder?
I mean, yes, and it was supposed to
Isn't
be
that
Tinder,
Bumble?
but not really though. No, just like a like straight up no strings
If you
attached.
have to pretend that you want a relationship because you are a woman, so you cannot
Right.
have the need to just have sex. You have to pretend that you like up to be the wife. Like maybe we're
right.
not.
But Bumble is for fucking. Go on Bumble, y'all.
That's what I heard.
Well,
before.
actually, okay, I did have experience. I did have good experience with Bumble that way. That's true. I did meet one guy that I just hooked up
Bumble
with,
is
and
that
we had
if you just want to
very-
fuck and not talk to anyone ever again, Bumble is the site to go to.
Wow, I had never heard that.
I mean,
before.
I didn't know that's what it was for, but I found out later. But well, I guess I didn't know. That's
I mean,
what it was
no,
for,
like
but-
honestly, I've never met a bitch on Bumble that I actually wanted to wife. Like if I've ever met a girl through Bumble, it's always truly been like, I just want to fuck you, and that's it.
No,
We fuck
Afeni,
and
but
we never
that's the
talk
thing.
again.
Like, that's what I said. Like, in the heterosexual world, when a woman has to come to a man, and even though in America it doesn't seem like that, but it does plays like that. The woman has to almost be willing to be the perfect wife, virgin, and bear the children. I'm just talking about
I'm a lesbian.
patriarchy
You gotta
on
remember that. I
online
was talking about
dating,
lesbian
and
experiences.
no, I know. When we are in the queer, that's what I said. Like when we are in the queer world, we are so free and happy. Why cannot the women that are not in the queer world experience that, or just become
Because
queer women?
patriarchy.
You're gonna be happy. I tell you.
I mean, you know, I think I
Patriarchy
casually
ruins
use
everything.
Tinder a lot in LA.
Yeah, I think patriarchy has a lot to do with it because, like, especially like in the United States, I mean, it's like, what do guys say that it's interesting, like, they will be maybe more physically attracted to the female that is more outspoken about that. Someone is just like, yeah, let's just go do it or whatever. But they wouldn't want to marry someone like that. And so it's like Josana's right in a sense. It's like you have to fit into that mold in order to. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
It's the whole like you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but then
Madonna.
But then how can you? But they're just bros. So then there should be the opposite. Like you can't turn a bro into like house husband. I don't. What would be a like? You know, like bros are fuck boys are terrible too. Like nobody wants to take them home to anybody to meet your parents or anything like that. I mean, I think this the patriarchy thing is so interesting because it just like ruins people's sex lives basically because people are being like forced to, you know, dress a certain way or look a certain way or act a certain way, you know, around their partner. But then, I mean, especially I've definitely dated people who then like want you to be extra crazy and you're like, well, I wasn't like that before, so I don't know why you're expecting this from me now. And they're like, yeah, but I thought you'd be like a, you know, like a nice girl, and then like when we get back, you know, it's like crazy expectations.
Well, you've got to ask. They've got to ask you. How else would you know?
Yeah, no. But this is like after dating for a long time, and they're just like, you know, expecting you to change,
that's not
to
gonna
change almost.
Right.
Yeah.
It is what it is at a certain point.
Explain. Be this way. Be like this, so we can love you. Just be yourself like this. Behave this way. Oh, you're so sexy. Hollywood showing your face, blonde girl. All of the other girls, even if they are not blonde, they just want to be like you. Sorry, I'm loving. I have to go, Sabby.
I just
have
saw
to
that.
go. I love you all. I really hope that men can live up to the patriarchy world. Oh God, just wake the fuck up. I'm sorry. Just wake up. Love you all. Love you. Afini, love you. Delilah, love you. Bank Sisters, love you. Sabby, love.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So what happens if you do those things that Josana was saying, like what a lot of people do in America? You do those things the way that men want you to, and you get into the relationship with them. And what happens if, I'm going to you next, Delilah. What happens if the sex is bad? What do you do?
You know, I have been a really, I want to say blessed, but also cursed with an ability to tell you how I'm feeling. And you know what I'm saying? Like, at least come to you from where I am. So it cuts some of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's been easy for me to at least communicate where I'm coming from. And dating, especially in a place like Texas, was really a struggle because, like, if, for instance, like the sex life wasn't great, somehow that ended up being my problem. Like, how is that my problem? You know what I'm saying? Just because I've been married, been divorced before, and it was really, I think the whole structure is very toxic because we still have a lot of men who think that they have to be a certain way to be good men, and they try to push this toxic mentality that as a woman to be a good woman you have to be graceful, or you have to be beautiful, or you have to be quiet, or any of those things. But that's not what they need, and that's not what they want. Otherwise, they would never look for me, you know, as a partner, because that's not what I am. And so I think it's just like this whole toxic framework that, like, it's like a path of growth and healing to get past that. Like, I very rarely meet men who are very comfortable with their sexuality, comfortable, you know, admitting to not being heterosexual, and being open to, you know, to different ways, different sexualities, you know what I'm saying? And even women, like, I still know a lot of women who are just like, oh, like, they think it's taboo to say that they're not straight. And it's like, it's 2022, maybe just, you know what I mean? Like, lean into what makes you happy. And I think there's just a lot of fear around being exposed as like an other in our systems. And I think it's just, it's hard because you can't make somebody grow. You can't help somebody, you know what I'm saying, open up and be a better them. Like, you can only do you. And so I think it's really hard, especially if you are straight and you're trying to get into a partnership with somebody. I mean, you got to unpack all that before you can even start trying to talk about paying bills together and things like that, you know?
That's a good point. Afeni, what happens if the sex is bad? Do you leave?
Okay, so I'm just gonna be very real. Okay, here's the thing about a female. Okay, I know what the sex is like before I wife you. Okay, as a lesbian woman. Okay, I make sure I sample what I need to sample before I actually get in a relationship with people. I have time. Ain't no such thing as undue babies, so I ain't gotta get tied to you at no point. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the time, I'm also gonna be like really vulnerable. Like, I do not let women touch me at first. So a lot of the time, I'm just getting to know you. You're not getting to know me. You know what I'm saying? I got to get to know you like on an emotional level for all of that. So like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like also being in like the gay world, like there's a lot more you can do to make sex better. You know, like, I personally do not need or desire penetration. Like, if it happens, cool. Like, I'm not opposed to it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't need that to, you know, do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like I have more potential to teach. There are more toys I can use. Like, I can experiment more. And also, I just genuinely do not fuck with men I'm not attracted to. Like, I know it's very superficial to say that, but I feel like, you know, this whole like date people you're not attracted to thing, like, who is that geared towards? Like, that doesn't really make any sense. Like, why would you not want to date somebody you're sexually attracted to? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to marry somebody you're not sexually attracted to? That's crazy. Like, even if you're not necessarily participating in sex before marriage, like whatever your beliefs are, but I at least want to be able to look at you and be like, oh, when I get you home, you know, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm looking at you and I'm like, ugh, I gotta pop a pill before I touch you, bitch. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy as hell. Like, I want to at least be able to like you. And there are so many different ways to be attracted to people. You know what I'm saying? So I think that as long as you find somebody you're personally attracted to, that's very, very important. And yeah, like, teach them. Like, sex can be taught. There are so many books. There's so many different things that you can do. And as long as the person that you're dating is not insecure. Because one thing that I have ran into in the lesbian community is like, people don't want to play with toys because it makes them insecure. Why? The technology is here. Let's do that. You know, like, you're not competing with this thing. This thing is an asset to the entire experience. You know what I'm saying? It's not to say that I need this thing and this thing only, but it helps, and it helps the entire thing. You know?
Sabby, you're wrong for that.
Like, I've ran into so many people that are like, oh, like, I can't play with the toys because, like, I'm enough. Like, my nigga, relax. Like, maybe you are enough, and I'm still gonna want this vibe. So relax. Like, regardless how you feel, this is still something that I enjoy. So get over it. You know? So yeah, like, that's definitely something, like, I feel like security within the relationship is very important, especially as far as like sexual experimentation is concerned. Because you can do so many different things. Like, you just have to be you have to be comfortable with your partner. And you have to be able to, like, communicate what your wants are. And I feel like, you know, I've dated men. Let's be very clear. I've dated men. And, you know, in my experience with dating men and being sexually involved with men is, like, you know, that hyper masculinity of just needing to be able to do it all on my own. Like, it's me. I'm the only person that can make you, you know, finish, get to that. It's like, whoa. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to just be you, though. Like, it's a team effort. I know, I feel like my communism started there. Like, the community makes it happen. You know? The community makes it happen. And now that I've, like, grown into my sexuality and been very comfortable with my sexuality, I think that, you know, just, I've experimented with so many different things that there's so many things out there. And I feel like you should, as long as you're comfortable with your partner, explore all those different avenues, because you just never know, like, what you like, what you don't like. You never know, like, what's better for you. You know, like, just fucking try it. Just do it one time, you know? Just one time. And, like, if that one time ain't for you, it is what it is. Oh, one more antidote. So I worked at the Exotica convention over the past winter, which is, like, you know, like a porn convention basically. And there were just, like, all these different, like, sections of it, and, like, there was, like, you know, like the BDSM or, like, masochism stuff, you know, and there was also, like, you know, just, like, different toys, different, like, outfits, and different areas you can go to. And I got spanked for the first time in public at this fucking convention. And let me tell you, like, honestly, it was lit. You know what I'm saying? So if you just, like, I'm genuinely, like, if people don't really, like, if you met me in person, you know, like, how socially conservative I am. Like, not, like, necessarily, like, you know, policy wise, but, like, when I'm in, like, a space and, like, if somebody is acting a fool, I'm, like, embarrassed. Like, that's me. Like, I'm the person that's like, oh, y'all calling too much attention to this fucking room. So it was really, you know, it was really hard for me to agree to get spanked in a public place. Number one, because I grew up really conservative. I just don't do shit like that. But when I did it, it was like, oh, bitch, I don't even like you like that. And you spanking my ass. Imagine if my partner does this. Like, it's going to be lit as fuck. And ever since, let me tell y'all, it's lit as fuck. So I'm just saying, just try it out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, Keisha and Courtney, do you leave if this next is
Hilarious. I'm 100% leaving, definitely. Well, okay, I'm leaving if there's no chemistry. I think you can find out real quick whether or not you have chemistry on date number 1, date number 2. I mean, if you have good chemistry, then you find out even faster. There you go. But I like Afini's idea. I'm willing to work with people, willing to try different things, willing to, like put the efforts in.
I'm willing to work with people, shuffle some things around,
watch some movies. I mean, I've had people, oh my God, I've had people buy books before. I've had all kinds of different things. So, I mean, but chemistry, the chemistry has to be there. But if you try a couple times and it's still not going great, I gotta go.
No, it's not gonna work. No, we can't force that. And I mean, also too, I think Delilah was touching on it before, like our roles and stuff. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm a very like aggressive, assertive woman, and like I've never been with a guy who did not like that. Like, they're like, that's great that you are. And I'm not saying in bed totally different, but I would say like in my life, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you my opinion. I'm gonna tell you, no, that's fucked up. I'm like, and they are cool with that. So. And even like the boyfriend I have now, like he almost has more feminine qualities. He cooks, he paints, he's like more of a nurturer. And I'm like, I need to be calmed down quite a bit. So I feel like, you just got to find your match. So for me, it's more like finding the balance to who I am rather than trying to meet like some other standards that we're supposed to fit, But yeah, we would find out really quick if there was chemistry. And, and that would be handled, and then we would know.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that too. I think that's the only thing about, and no shade to people who do want to wait. I know some people that do. Like I said, I went to college in the South, so there's some people who do want to wait. But my concern was always what happens if you do wait and then it's really bad, and then you try to work things out and make it work, and then he or she is just really bad. And then what do you do?
Yeah, so I think there's like an instance too where like, especially with like college and all that, where you could just like be dating your best friend, and it's like you might love to spend every single second with your best friend, but then you get to that part and that doesn't work. Then maybe you guys have a different relationship than you thought you had, like it just might not work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Delilah, you're in Texas. In reference to like dating and relationships, did you feel some type of like push? And I ask this because I went to college down south, and it seemed like to me everybody was trying to get married early on. Like I knew 2 people when I was in college get married when we were still in college, which I thought was crazy. But it just seemed like to me there was like this pressure on younger people, 19, 20, 21 years old, that they needed to be looking for a husband or a wife and to get married earlier on. Do you feel that same type of energy in Texas? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I am 37, so I don't know if there's like maybe a little bit of a generational difference in expectations for dating. But yeah, I mean, I knew, and of course with all of the bigots running our state, I mean, we've got girls that are 15, 16 having kids, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I definitely grew up with a lot of that, like, oh, what's my wedding gonna be like? Kind of meant, like, I wasn't like that myself personally, and I was a black sheep. That was weird. People thought there was something wrong with me because I wasn't trying to plan my wedding when I was young. And it's funny because the person that I'm with, we have a kid together, and he's the one. Him and his friends had a little pregnancy pact. They wanted to be the ones that raise kids together and things like that. And I was like, I got nothing for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they were the ones that were like, and he's younger than I am, and so I wonder if it was just like a timing thing, you know what I'm saying? Because they're the way they support each other, and mostly men supporting each other, and that whole like dating fatherhood thing. And the friends that I have, we're just like, we need a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, I think that there's a lot of young couples who got married too soon in the state, that had to learn. And, as somebody who has been divorced, it is such a pain it is such a struggle. Like, I honestly, we're not married because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that again. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, that's so wrong of you. You should give him a wedding. And like, I don't think that I need to worry about that. And I think it's cute that they're worried about his feelings. Like, they're worried about him getting that, you know, cute wedding date. And I'm just like, what is this? So Texas is weird, and I'm a weird person in this state. And yeah, there's too many people. They're like, definitely push that, especially with all the religious people. They're like, you got to get married. You got to have babies. You got to have 6 kids. And it's just like, I mean, I don't know if it's like the colonizer mentality or what, but yeah, it's definitely pushed early on to breed.
Here's a good question from Big Tio. I wonder what advice the panel has for breakups and dating others half. Afeni.
Dating the other half, yeah.
So yeah, the other half of dating, I guess, is what they're saying. So I mean, okay. So like I said, I was engaged before, so I definitely have my, have my fair share of breakups. I think that one thing that I've just come into, and I'm 25 years old, so I feel like I'm very young. I've grown up faster than a lot of other 25-year-olds have just because of my life experience, but I think that breaking up is really hard because it's a very traumatic experience that people don't really talk about. People act like you're supposed to just like get under somebody. At least my generation does get under somebody and move on. Just like that's how you get over somebody. And it's really not that. It's really sitting with those feelings, and it's really understanding, the significance of that breakup. I've never been in a relationship longer than 5 years. So I can only really imagine like what it's like to break up with somebody and, really have your lives intertwined in that way, and have like, you're spending, especially if you live with that person, you're spending all your time with the person, like your schedule is based on that person. And that is it's a very traumatic experience to get out of that and to realign your life into a new purpose with being single. So I don't know, like, I just think that breakups, like when you break up with somebody, it's very, very, very important to take your time with yourself and to heal, because I feel like too much we're told that we just need to get over our feelings. We just need to like just suck it up, and like it's just you can't just move on from everything. You can't just pack it up and act like everything's okay from every single thing. I think as human beings, we are entitled and we deserve to feel our feelings. We deserve to get to know ourselves again after that relationship, because so many things, like, okay, I'm going to speak from our personal experience. Like when I was with my ex Bianca, like there were so many things I feel like about my personal self that changed from being in that relationship. So being able to sit with those changes, and some of them you're okay with because, it's like, okay, I grew the fuck up in that situation. It's like, all right, that. And there are some things you're like, oh, like I really lost a part of myself in this relationship, and I should rediscover that joy or rediscover that part of myself because I shut that self off. I've shut that part of myself off for this person, to make them happy. So I feel like it's kind of a balance. It's like really taking stock of the things that changed about you in that relationship that were positive. Like, I learned how to balance a checkbook better, I learned how to pay my bills on time, I learned how to be more selfless than I was before, like how it really is to care for and nurture another person outside of myself. And I feel like in relationships, you really do learn that, especially your first one, speaking from personal experience, you really learn how to like not only give a fuck about you. It's like, damn, this nigga needs to eat too. Shit, like maybe I should cook something for the both of us and not just feed myself. Like just little things like that, like really teach you how to be more conscious of like the little things in interpersonal relationships, not only in your like romantic relationships, but in platonic relationships. I feel like a lot of my relationships, like things that I learned had been in my friendships as well. Like my best friend Gia that just passed, like I can say that I was genuinely, and I'm still genuinely in love with Gia, but like not in a weird way. Like I don't want to like have sex with her or anything, but like she just genuinely understood me, and as a person, I understood her as a person. We could have those uncomfortable conversations and grow from those conversations. And understanding that love comes in all different types of ways also could be very helpful for like breakups. And I feel like even me myself, like I've had an issue with jumping from person to person and just not really taking that time for myself. And now that I'm in like a healthy relationship and like in a healthier space, I've understood like how that could have really put me in a very bad position. But you know, I'm lucky to have like a partner that, you know, takes her time with me and like is really patient. But you know, like being able to have time and sit with yourself and understand how you are as a single person is just really, really important. Being able to understand all the different types of love and intimacy that exist in the world is really, really important. And you know, with the passing of my best friend, I really realized how important it is to like nurture and you know, feed into the intimacy of friendships, and you know how we can get lost in the romantic part of it and wanting to have like a wedding and all that stuff. Like all that shit is great, but how great is it to have a dinner with your girlfriend and y'all laugh the whole fucking time? You know,
Yeah.
like there are feelings that are just truly unmatched that I feel like we should appreciate more collectively. That don't have to do with aesthetics or anything that can be proven to other people, but this genuinely as a person what helps you grow and, you know, just learn as a human being.
Well said. Courtney and Keisha.
I mean, you got me with that. I mean, my best friend just recently passed away as well. She, you know, she would be the person I would go to. But I think I valued our relationship more than, you know, kind of any male relationship that I'd had to that point. And my boyfriend that I actually have now, he had met her separately. So it was kind of just like gave me a piece that he knew her as well. And we figured out that we both knew her. And like, yeah, realizing like those relationships that are so important to you, like, you know, being bigger than just romance, of course. Like, you know, I talk to my boyfriend every day on the phone and we just like joke around. We play trivia games and like do dumb stuff, talk about our bunnies. And like, that's like one of the most important things is that building that friendship. And I didn't even have my real first real boyfriend until I was like 24, 25. So I feel like I'm still pretty new with the breakups part of it, but I do feel like I guess like feel your feelings is something I'm very dramatic, I guess I think, but I think it's healthy. I think people that bottle stuff up, it just ends up coming out wrong somewhere else later. So, you know, I maybe you might call me dramatic, but I would definitely be like lots of sad songs, drinking wine, crying everywhere, like just, but you know, you have to be a mess a little bit and then collect yourself and figure out what is cool about you and, you know, and have a good time with yourself too. And like, I just feel like if you're going to be single, like do that all the way. And if you're in a relationship, do that all the way. And like, don't spare either time. Like there's something to be learned of both experiences, but those friendships that you can fall back on after a breakup, like that's probably the best people to talk to so you don't do something crazy, you know?
Gosh, I feel like I'm way on the other side of this. So I'm 41, so I feel like I've had a lot of breakups, the most breakups, all the breakups. And I feel like definitely a lot of them were my fault for sure. So like just I was a shitty person sometimes. So I think a lot of, you know, soul searching and talking to yourself and wondering, you know, just, you know, figuring out what it is that you did wrong, you know, what you would do differently. I think at this point now I've spent so much time with myself that I like being by myself. So my poor boyfriend gets mad at me because I don't like I don't like talking on the phone. I just like be by myself. So, I mean, I love him. He's great. But like, I'm like, I'm by myself. I'm chilling. So don't go don't go so far that you're, you know, that you like love being by yourself so much that you can't do anything else. But gosh, I mean, I do definitely think sad songs and all of that stuff are great for breakups. I do think you need like a time of mourning because there was a reason you were with this person. So you had some good times, you know? So, you know, there's
What I would say, one thing I would say is sometimes though, scorched earth is also fucking fine, because I would be Keisha's phone call after some of these relationships, and I would tell her to do crazy shit. And I think you would have felt a lot better if you had done some shit to that guy's clothing and belongings. But because some people just go too far. I've definitely like thrown somebody out. I was like,
fuck all they shit up if they fucking do you wrong. Fuck that shit up.
Sometimes that helps you too. Like when you like give, you're like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Sometimes that helps you get through it too, because you just gotta purge your system. Yeah, purge it. But it depends on the relationship.
Yeah, it depends on what happened. And the ones that were not my fault, then yes, I think maybe a scorched earth. And I did try to do a scorched earth thing, but then he came right back, guys. I took this guy's stuff. He was cheating on me for the longest time. And I was paying all.
She put a camera in a USB drive and put the USB drive in the apartment that they share. You know what I mean? So
it was a voice recorder.
He didn't know.
And so when I would leave the house, he would work from home and I would leave the house and he was on the phone with other girls. So, and then I would come home and check the tape and he'd be like, yeah, girl, I can't wait to see you. All kinds of crazy shit.
Going on trips and stuff.
He went on trips and vacations with these girls, all kinds of stuff. So I figured it out and I did. I took all of his stuff. I packed up, we lived together. I packed up everything. I threw it all in his car. I threw all his paintings and this and that in the car. And because he was on a trip at the time. And so then you figure he would leave. But then I went to work and because I didn't want to be there to confront him, because I didn't want to have like a conversation about it. There was no conversation to be had. It was just, this is over. So I was like staying at my friend's house to try to get, him to get his stuff out. And this motherfucker put everything back in the exact same place, like a psycho.
I told her she should have pissed on it or put some mustard, ketchup, something, so then he's got to clean the clothes. Because, of course, now he could just take them back in the apartment. You got to make people think you're crazy because sometimes you are, okay?
Burn all that motherfucking shit, period. Burn it.
Oh my God.
I didn't want to go so far.
Yeah. You want to piss me off? Guess what? Now you're mad. Okay. Here's one thing about me. Okay, I've never had the opportunity to be as fully crazy as I want to be. But the moment a motherfucker does me the wrong way, I promise y'all gonna see my motherfucker.
That's what it is. Oh my God. To the person in the chat, I agree. It's both impressive and worrisome that I had to. It's both. I mean, I scared myself a little bit the way I tracked this guy down, but I just was talking about it so much. I needed to have proof. Like it was one of these proofs. I just needed to have proof. So that was why I did it. So if you need advice, I have an Amazon list with all of the things. No, I'm just kidding.
Keisha's a private investigator there. Delilah, how do you handle breakups?
Goodness. I think for me personally, again, I'm usually, when I'm done, I'm done. And there was ample chances, you know what I'm saying? Lots of communication. But when I get to that point, there is nothing to be done about it. There really isn't. And I can't change that because like I'm already moving on. You know what I'm saying? I'm already to another place. I have always tried to be very independent. Like my dad and my parents raised me to not have to be dependent on people. And so that's how I grew up. And so it's tough if your stuff is in my place now, right? Because you're not welcome here anymore because I tried, and we're done. And so, yeah, if that means I had to like break a lease or something, I did because like my health, my mental health and my well-being is priority. And I think every time, and for whatever reason, Lord help me, people come to me for relationship advice. And I'm like, I'm probably the worst person for you to ask because I've been divorced twice. Like all my exes live in Texas. Like I've had stalkers. I don't know why you're coming to me for your advice. And I think it's because they want somebody to tell them you're valid and you're right in how you feel. And it's okay to not feel like this is, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be graceful. You can call him a motherfucker. You can call him whatever you need to. You can tell his mom, to come pick up his shit, I'm gonna support you. Cause like, I think that you need to do what's best for you. So every time anybody does come to me for advice and they're like, should I dump him? I'm like, first of all, yes. Second of all, use this as an opportunity for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a blessing. Like, you're tied down to this person, working around your schedule, and you're not happy. This is your chance to be happy. Go figure out what makes you happy. And that's how I try to deal with breakups and deal with people who are going through breakups. And I can tell you, romantic breakups are not nearly as bad as friendship breakups. I've had those happen, and those are the ones where I'd be like crying on the couch, you know what I'm saying, for a few days, like looking through old pictures and stuff, like deleting them. And that's hard because, you know, friendship's different. Like, there really was never that physical aspect to it. And so it's like, it's all emotional. And so that's been, I think, a little bit harder for me to overcome, is those friendship breakups versus the relationship, you know, romantic ones.
No, I agree. I know, like, when I broke up with my ex, I took a year off from dating just to like physically heal and just like focus on myself. And then I met my husband, and it was kind of weird because I wasn't looking for a boyfriend. I wasn't looking to try to date anybody. But at the same time, it was like I got so used to being like depending on myself and doing everything on my own. And then I met this guy who's like opening the door for me, like trying to help me with things. I remember the first time he tried to help me like carry something. I was like, what are you doing? Like, give that back. Like, give that back to me. So it was just funny. I was used to being like independent. So that was something that I did have to work on. I had to realize that it's okay to let somebody help you. And so it took me a while to get to that point. But Afeni asked this question in the private chat. We need to know what's everyone's horoscope. So Afeni.
Yeah. So I'm an Aquarius. When Delilah said, "Oh, when I'm done," I said, "Oh yeah, it's definitely that. It's given. I'm gonna cut you off and never talk to you again." Okay. But here's the thing about me. Okay, so I'm gonna be very clear. Like, I had a traumatic experience with my last ex where she just ghosted me. I do not like that shit. One thing about, and she was a Capricorn, right? I hate that. One thing about an Aquarius like me is, bitch, you gonna know I don't fuck with you, okay? And I'm gonna text you this text message, and I'm gonna block you right after, because you're not talking to me. I said what I said, and I don't fuck with you no more, period. You know what I'm saying? But like honestly, I would say that ghosting is the worst thing that's ever happened to our generation's dating pool ever. I mean, I guess, like, you know, it was a thing before because you could like ghost your family because you would just move to a different town and wouldn't write them niggas. That's ghosting. That's it. Like, niggas was ghosting before ghosting had a name. But I'm mad, bitch, because now I can look at you on social media and I know you're still alive. Okay? Before I could think you died of scurvy or some shit. Maybe you had diarrhea too hard. Your ass passed away in the desert. Okay. Now I'm looking on your Instagram and bitch, you alive. You're good. You're breathing. The fuck? Like, and you live 10 minutes down the street, bitch. So I can see you ignoring me. Okay? Like, come on now.
That's bold.
Like, that shit is so much worse.
Keisha and Courtney, what's your sign?
I'm a Taurus. So, yeah. I'm a Sagittarius and a Virgo rising sun. I don't know. Something like that. I forget what the other one is. But yeah.
Delilah, you're Aquarius too?
I am an Aquarius too. Yeah. I don't remember what my moon sign is, but I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's like a cat. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to know. You're going to know. I love
every time.
So I know you all probably saw my little girl. Like, right, she was right here, and I was like, okay, they're not here anymore. They moved. But like, some of my kids, they're like, I don't understand how people are dating, and I don't understand, like, and I'm just like, cats will teach you everything you need to know about consent. If you meet somebody who does not know how to interact with the cat, that person is not ready for dating. And like, that's where I just tell them right away, like, if they can't read the room or they can't, you know what I'm saying, then that's how you can tell. But yeah, definitely. You'll know. I can't hide it. Like, I work in surgery, y'all, and my face, like, I have a hat on, my face is covered, and people are all like, "Are you mad at me?" And like, I didn't say anything to them, but they could just tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just like put off this energy like you crossed a line or something, you know. So yeah. Which one are you? You're a Pisces?
I'm a Pisces, and I learned many years ago I cannot date another Pisces because we tend to be quite moody people. We tend to be quite moody sometimes. Sometimes we like to be bothered. Sometimes we don't like to be bothered. So two Pisces together just doesn't seem to work well for me, I find. We got an Aries in the chat. Aries in the chat.
I'm a Aquarius, Gemini moon, Virgo rising. I literally have the makeup of serial killer. I feel like, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everything in my chart was meant to not give a single fuck. It's either I really give a fuck, like I really genuinely give a hard fuck about you, or I don't give a fuck at all. And if I don't give a fuck at all, like I can't hide it. Like I just be so unenthused. Like, okay, and like I don't know what else to say to you. Like one time, like I would definitely when Delilah said I just knew, like once I'm over it, like okay, like I don't give a damn about nothing you have to say. Like I remember my ex, she pulled up on me like when I was at work one day, and I was like, you don't think it's weird to like do this? Like you just think it's weird, and I think it's weird, so you should stop talking to me. And she hasn't talked to me since, and I love it. I love it every day. So I mean, I don't know. We're the wrong ones. Aquarius are the wrong ones.
Oh man. Oh man. I think with Pisces, I think we're really like people are always like, you guys are so sweet and so nice, and we really are, but just don't piss us off because when we get mad, we're really mad. We're really mad. I think that's the difference. But there was one more question I want to get to. Have any of you looked up your old partners online? I was shocked to find X had been arrested for scamming old people. Sure was glad we split up. Have any of you tried to do that before?
Holly. No. I mean, you know what? I will say I've tried to be friends with my exes. And you know what I'm saying? It really doesn't ever work out. There's only like one ex that I'm kind of okay with. And everybody else, it's just like, I think when you're a giver or like you're a very emotional person, or like you have like, I don't know how best to describe us type of people, but like I'll give you so much. But when I'm like, after I feel like I'm not respected or there's no feedback coming, you know what I'm saying, that ends. And I think they really feel like me conserving my energy for myself is like I did them wrong, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I can't be friends with them, and why I don't really look into them or how they're doing, because like they don't, that we're already past that point, you know what I'm saying, where we could care about each other. So I don't really keep up with the last ones, you know.
Afeni?
Yeah, here's the thing about me, okay? I will cyber stalk you every now and then just to see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what's going on. You feel me? I'm not even about to sit up here and fake like like maybe once in a while, like I'll cyber stalk you. But if I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. Like my ex, I probably shouldn't say her name on camera, but I already said half of it. That one right there, I don't give a fuck what she got going on. I don't care where she go. I don't care what's happening. I don't give a single flying fuck, because honestly, she was fucking terrible. Okay, all right. And I hope you never see this. I'm really sorry, because you don't know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. I'm really sorry, but still, fuck you. You see what I'm saying? But like my ex Bianca, and I will say her name because my feelings is hurt. That bitch just left me and she didn't say nothing, and I was like, bitch, where did you go? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And like, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of it also, like, I'm very real. Like, I feel like a lot of it also is my ego. Like, I'm like, what part of you felt like it was acceptable for you to just leave me like this without saying nothing, explaining your damn self? Okay? Like, you should have explained yourself, because you need a good reason. And, you know, I see you agreeing with me. You know, my Taurus sister, You feel me? My best friend is also a Taurus. My best friend is a Taurus. So I see you understanding it. Explain yourself to me, okay? Because there's no fucking way you can just drop on the face of the earth and I don't know what the fuck's going on. That's disrespectful. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as like all of that stuff, like regretting anything, like I'm a genuine believer of life moves on and people are temporary. Every experience is temporary. The only experience that is permanent is the experience you have within yourself. Everything else comes in stride. You feel me? So, I mean, for the most part, I've only had like 3 girlfriends that I actually care about. And like actually like got attached to. I've fucked a lot of women though. And I've talked to a lot of women. So they will probably classify me as their ex. You know what I'm saying? Because of our type of relationship. But I don't give a fuck. Personally, I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I don't care where you at. I hope I'm not going to wish death on anyone. I'm not going to wish ill on anybody. I mean, I hope you're all right. You feel me? Like, I hope capitalism doesn't whoop your ass too much. But other than that, bro, Godspeed, bitch. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Hilarious. Oh my gosh. I don't know. This is on a case-by-case basis for me. The guy that I dated, probably for the longest time after I got out of college, we bought a house together and all that stuff. So we all, I guess almost got married. I don't know what you would call it. We weren't engaged, but he still lives in that house with his however many children and his wife, who used to be my friend, but then decided she wanted to steal my boyfriend away, I guess, whatever. So sometimes, like on some petty shit, I do like just like see, because I don't want to have kids. So sometimes I like to check and be like, haha, how many kids do you have now?
Hold on, real fast. You ain't burn that house down? You ain't want to burn that house down? You ain't want to burn that house down?
Oh my God. I used to, yes.
I would have burned out my half, personally. I'm burning out my half.
I only burned half.
You know what I'm saying? You can have your half, but my half is burnt to the motherfucker.
It's burnt.
So many things. Especially like, DC is small, so you used to live down the street, or like I'd be like riding my bike somewhere and see you and your damn kids, or drive past your house. I hate it. I hate going in that neighborhood still to this day. I don't like it. But as far as like following up on people, like, I mean, I haven't left too many relationships on like really bad terms. So like every now and then someone might like check in with me and be like, hey, how are you? But I mean, if I'm stalking you online, it's probably like to see if you got fat, or just like I'm not really I'm not checking like pining away for you and being like, but I mean,
curious.
Yeah, like, did you get fat? That's pretty much the only question.
Are you balding?
Are you balding is a big one. Are you balding? Yeah.
I would say, case by case basis. Usually just block. I mean, I've had many lovers, as Afeni was saying, so I couldn't consider them exes all over this great nation. So you see them now and then, but it's cool because that's that was just a physical thing. You're like, cool. That was time we had sex. That was great. But I think the relationships, I mean, I am kind of it takes a lot for me to like. There's been a couple that have been really burned to the ground, but I would say there was one where I did check up on the guy, because usually I would just be over it. I did check on the guy, but because he was like a gigolo and he had like conned me and owed me money. And so he like one time he like said he was getting a job and had like put on like clothes for work. And then like I dropped him off at the job and he said he was going to training. And then he never actually went to that job. And so he kept saying he was going to like, he wanted to move in and pay me, but he never had any money because he didn't actually have that job. And then he found like another girl to live with. So I was just wanted to check and see how many other women he was scamming or if he had gotten caught. So those are things I like to tap in on. But otherwise, I think you just gotta, social media is the devil. I think like the whole idea of like even being able to see your ex is so messed up.
Yeah.
You used to be able in the 80s just to be like, okay, new family, bye.
Yeah,
Like
never again.
you could kill a person. Like the fact that your picture might pop up in my memories is so aggressive.
Ugh.
It's very
And
it's a
you
lot.
know, and it's definitely insidious because I've definitely had exes of mine pop up in your like suggestions, like, "Oh, don't you know this person?" And I'm like, "No, I've blocked this person many times. You already know that." But they keep.
What is Facebook trying to do there? It's trying to like get you to talk to your ex, and you're married, and you're
No,
like,
thank
"What?
you.
This is wrong. Okay, this is destruction of families."
Oh my gosh. I did that one time to an ex years ago, and he was on Facebook, and I did look him up. I was being nosy, just like like Keisha was saying, I was being nosy, and I was looking to see. I was like, let's see if he's with her, because it's another cheating situation. I was like, let me see if he's with her. Didn't see her in any of the pictures or anything. And then one day, I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were looking him up, and all of a sudden, he was gone. He wasn't on Facebook, wasn't on Twitter or anything. And so we were just like, I wonder what happened to him. My friend was like, maybe he died. And I was like, no, I don't think he's dead. So one night we had a little bit of drinks. And then she was like, we should go by his house to see if he's dead. And I was like, oh my God. So we did. We went by his house to see if he was there. Definitely his car was definitely there in the driveway. And she was like, we'll come back another night and then we'll toilet paper the house. And I just thought she was joking. So I was like, whatever. Okay, whatever. A couple days later, she showed up at my apartment and she was like, okay, you ready? I was like, ready for what? She was like, we're going to go toilet paper his house. I was like, I thought you were joking. She's like, no, let's go. She said, he owes you. He owes you. So we jumped in the car, went to his house, toilet papered his house, drove back home. Till this day, he never knows it was us. Unless he happens to see this.
Look, he got.
I love how we were talking about like wanting to do stuff, and Sabby, you're all sweet, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we did this." I love that.
I blame my friend.
It's biodegradable. I mean, at the end of the day, come on. Wasn't that bad.
I blame my friend. Oh my gosh. Well, it's 8:30. I want to thank everyone for coming on. Before we go, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Okay, we'll go first, I guess. On tomorrow, Monday, we're gonna have our second live stream at noon on our channel, the Bank Sisters, or just Bank Sisters. There's no the. I think the is the gospel version of us, but let's see. Yeah, there's a gospel Bank Sisters. This is crazy. Let's see what else. Other than yeah, we just released that TikTok video that Court edited, and it's really amazing. Hilarious if you want to check that out. Other than that, you can
subscribe, tell your friends, help. They're censoring a lot of people, so tell your friends and help all the lefties and all the women who are going through the struggle. Okay, we need people to like our videos because it's hard out here.
Exactly. We might need to buy surveillance software so
to spy on our boyfriends.
Delilah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm on Twitter, Delilah for Texas, because I'm crazy and I'm running for office. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, and I'm trying to get on TikTok, y'all. I need some help. I don't know what I'm doing there. But yes, that's where you can find me. I'm in Texas, so hope y'all have a good night.
Afeni.
I would just say my mother's a Pisces. Pisces are crazy. Okay, so Sabby can act nice all she wants. Pisces, it's fuck. That's that. Number one. Number two, where you can find me? Well, Afeni be everywhere. You feel me? You can find me at Red as Ari on all platforms. Red with 2 D's as Ari. I will be I'll be in person at the Debt Collectors Action on April 4th in DC. So if you live in or around that area, I've been on the planning committee for that. Please come out. Please show face. And yeah, like, get fucked, y'all. Period. Like, continue. If you're single right now, have as much different types of sex as you can. Go to the sex dungeons. Google that shit. Google type of toys. Like, just play around, because honestly, the world's gonna end. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't give a fuck about climate change, so we're all gonna drown anyway. So come as many times as you can before the world ends.
Wow, love
Simple,
it.
simple, and concise. Thank you for that
Yeah.
word.
What's the coupon code if you need to?
Wow, to your class.
I can see you some. I can see you some.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And have a good night.
Thanks, Abby. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Night.